Hey everyone, it's Yue from the Strictly Broken YouTube channel, and today I wanted to do a tier list of, not power level, not, whatever, best design sets or whatever. I'm doing it on profitability, and I think I have a unique perspective to give for this because, we do work at Strictly Broken TCG. I do want to disclaimer say that, I don't have perfect, complete market information on everything. I only have our angle. So some things may differ a little bit from what you are expecting. Probably not, though, to be honest. We do sell a lot of Cardfight, so we do get to see and be pretty representative of the overall bigger picture, the bigger market movements. I am not going to be including I have these trial decks here, or these, whatever they're called. I have these two things here. Just to remind me to let you guys know, we're not doing any of the trial deck starter decks in this tier list, because I don't think they're really... Like, you sell these sealed to people, I think. Like, at least you should be. If you were, selling them the way I think they're intended to be sold. Trying to extract some kind of bigger profit from them other than just cost and MSRP is kind of unreasonable. And I'm not going to do premium collection sets either, because I want to keep this V era specific. We're nearing the end of V era, and this was just a way to, close it off. I'm also not including clan selection... Is it called Clan Selection? Yeah, I think it's called Clan Selection 1 and 2. Things that are coming out this week, and one a little bit later. Because we just don't have enough data on that stuff to know and understand. Hasn't been long enough, and they're literally just coming out this week. With that being said, let's get started. My perspective on value is going to be the holistic, kind of long-term, how the set performed over time. So let's get getting started with Q4, for example. On initial release, I think stores were very, very reasonable with their pricing because they didn't know what was going to be stonks, what was not going to be stonks. But what people quickly realized later on was that PGs, you had to play 4 PGs in every deck. And so even though PGs were double R, and on release, I don't know if you all recall, PGs were $1 from this set. They quickly became 10 plus. I think across the board, except for the Nova Grappler PG, and even the Nova Grappler PG, I think at the highest point, they were all over $10. Some of them hitting like even 20. I'm looking at the Royal one and the Kagero one. So, and not every set's PGs went up to that kind of price, but this one definitely did. Because I think very early on, people didn't realize that the PGs would have been very, very, like they have to be played as four ofs in every deck. So even though they're double R, they need to be expensive. Overall, I think a solid set, a solid banger. Stores having this set never lost money, really. And that's like a metric I'm going to be using. Like, I think some of these sets were poor performers. I'm not sure if any of them were horrible performers. But, yeah, this one's definitely, I think, an A. Maybe even here? Oh, we'll put it here for now. Also, lottery cards, just to mention. I'm going to base my assessments. Lottery cards will be factored in. But like, for example, this one has the lottery PBD, the super expensive one, the numbered PBDs. But the problem with factoring in lottery cards is like, it's not really indicative of the product. It kind of is, but like I think these are two, AL4 and Q4 are very similar products, but AL4 definitely has the lottery card, the PBD, that makes it more expensive. Both of the markers in both of these sets kind of suck. The markers they're not too stonk, but the PBD is like really stonks. Funny story, Strictly opened 20 cases of AL4 and pulled 0 numbered PBDs. That was like super unlucky. And I was pretty upsetty spaghetti over that. I really wanted to pull 69, but it just didn't happen. Miyagi, the markers were more expensive in Miyagi for sure. I remember that. It also was a pretty big deal because the premium, Ravenhair was in this, and Ravenhair was really big for premium. Other than that, Tetramegas is a huge deal. It was a really crazy rear guard. Less PGs in this set, right? Because the Royals were in here, OTT were in here, and the PGs were already in Q4. And PGs are like huge elements of like performance for a set, because they ended up, especially in the full boosters, they ended up holding a lot of the set's value. So this set lacking the PGs and stuff, I dare say that this was a little bit worse than Q4, but it did have the Narukami PG. It also had the Nubatama PG, I do believe, is in this set. It might have been an EV before, I'm not sure, but can I put it above Q4? The Narukami PG did become very expensive for a little while, and I think bird is in here too? Let me double check. No, the bird is not in here. Oh no, the bird is in here. So maybe it's here. Maybe it's, I'll put it here. I'll put it here. This set, like Airmo and stuff in Q4, Airmo, and then Berserk Dragon, like, man, there's some good triple R's in this set. Akane at some points were expensive too. Nah, this is the Q4 is better. This might even go here, to be honest. Whatever, we'll leave it here for now. Violence Leader, DRs, lottery cards. Was there markers in here? I think there was some markers. Nothing too impressive. Don't even recall. But the DRs were really exciting and cool. Oh, AL4 actually had... That reminds me, AL4 had Swordbreaker. AL4 had like the craziest support for the Shadow stuff. Pale Moon stuff was kind of cool and neat. It even had... Now that I'm thinking back and comparing it with Vilist, two very similar sets in terms of their clan choices. Let me take my hood off. AL4 might actually be S because, you know, what's it called? Pale Moon needed the PGs and needed some of the, and then NLK was like the boogeyman deck for premium. I'm gonna put AL4 in S. This might have been a banger actually. But Violet's the leader had Swordbreaker, which also shot up, like, it's not in the main shoot up, which was in AL4, but it had Swordbreaker. It had what are the sets? The leaders, or yeah, it's the leaders. But Link Joker was in here too. I'm actually gonna say the set was not that good. At random periods of time, there was this one Shadow triple R that kept spiking. The Maka, oh no, not the Maka. The there was this one triple R that called a 5K. It would like randomly get bought out every time like they spoiled a 5K. But that card, it was just not really that great of a card. This might be the first B. You know, delete rares are cool, but I'm not even sure if they, like, let me check. I'm not even sure if they held their value. Shirai Yuki was in here though. I'm looking now. Might have to be here. Like this there's no world where Violus is actually worse than Miyagi, right? Miyagi being pretty good. Aerial Steed. Aerial Steed was kind of bad, to be honest. It did have the Gauntlet Buster though, which was like a big Gauntlet Buster. Got really expensive for a while. It had the gold support. It had Platina. It had Platina, and then it had the two Hole and Kaden, which were kind of a big deal too. Gancelot was kind of expensive-ish, but not that crazy expensive. I think Ariel was like kind of poo. Oh, it had the XVRs, and then the expensive Aichi marker, and I guess the expensive Excel marker. I don't think it was that good, to be honest. Nah, I'll put it here. Not a fan. I think Vilist beats out on Ariel every time. Yeah, like Ariel also had like Tsukiyomi, now that I'm looking. And the thing is, like, it was really weird with Tsukiyomi. Like Ariel, Tsukiyomi was like, so people thought it was a really good deck, but then it got, like, keep in mind this came out before this, which is like, this set is banger. I'll tell you right now, like, everyone knows Phantasmal Steed Restoration is one of the most banger sets, hands down. Like, on release, some stores made some dumb mistakes and sold the Hyugas at 4. It like dipped all the way to 4, and the weekend hits, it was right before Texas hits. Everyone realized this Hyuga is like insanely good, and then it just goes back to 20 instead of 4. Lukier was insane. Mordred was insane. And Brufus was whatever. But, you know, Brufus had the chance of going late and just winning the game, but it was not that crazy. Brufus was needed for the NLK combo deck, so it still retains some value. This set is just a banger. Everyone knows. Yeah, there's no real debate here. Infinite Deity Cradle. I'm gonna put this here. Each booster box came with a promo pack that had cards in them that I think without fail, if you bought boxes of Infinite Deity Cradle, your expected value of the box almost never was neg. In the short term, on release, those promos were cheap, but they quickly became so expensive. And even stuff like Miyomaru and the Leonor, the Mega Colony card as well, the Countercharger. Was it a Countercharger? I think it was. Like those stuff, just the Melody Grade 2, those stuff all had value, and most of the triple R version prints of them, because the pack came with cards and they could also potentially come in lottery foiling. Those cards all became expensive. Basically, this set is like a super banger, actually, like hindsight 2020 super banger. It was an accident that we bought, I think, way more of this set than we initially planned to, and it ended up just being a banger. Our first wave of it obviously kind of sucked because we sold the promos at what they were initially, but over time the promos like all became so juiced, and the EV on this box just became absolutely crazy. So I definitely think this one is a kind of a hot take S tier, but it's definitely an S tier set in the V era. Silver Dust. You guys saw my cross video, and yeah, I'm not a fan of Silver Dust. Right now, the Link Joker stuff is doing quite well, but no, Silver Dust is just not it. It's not it for me. It's a B tier set every time. I don't know how like others, like some people told me Silver Dust was a banger for them, but it just wasn't for us. It just wasn't very good. And this was like, there was a clear point after COVID started. I think people, I'm not sure what happened, but it was post COVID. The sets just, either they had an increased print run or Bushiroad allowed more opportunities for people to order. Post Silver Dust sets just flooded the market more than the previous sets. I'm telling you guys right now, like, it's so apparent. Like, there's just so much more players in the game in Vanguard currently than there was pre Silver Dust. And yeah, just the prices were just very mediocre. I actually want to say Silver Dust is actually like here. Actually, it was not good for us at all, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it was just super whatever. Like, we do have like local people and people that always ask me to get them holds on like SPs of their favorite clans like Kagero and stuff, but no, like, just objectively, this set was just garbage for me, and I think for a lot of people. Butterfly, definitely, even though, like I said, post Silver Dust there was a huge increase in supply and not a particular increase in demand, arguably a decrease in demand because people aren't buying cards because of they can't go out to play anyways. I don't know if that's true, but that's what's suggested by a lot of people. Even with all of those, this set managed to be decent. I think in a time where there's no global pandemic and everything, this set would be an S tier set for sure. But definitely high A. Prices could have been better had people been able to play. It was definitely a good set though, for sure, without a doubt. Fam Dragon Aeon, everyone knows this set is kind of a joke because it was like the Luard or crap set, and some of the crap ends up being just long term. It'll just hold like a decent value, quote unquote, but it was definitely a Luard or bust, and now the Luard is not even that pricey, so this set was just probably just a failure. It's probably one of the hindsight 2020, like, if you sold your Luard stuff early, set was okay, but in reality, just for keep in mind, like, right after the set releases, the deck gets nerfed a bit because it was nerfed in Japan, and maybe this will be a video one day, but the unfortunate reality of playing a card game that has a same ban list as the Japanese ban list, but us just functioning a month later, it sucks because when something's strong, we can't actually play the strong form for a long period of time. We just have to suck it up and take the L with their ban list. So that affects the set, obviously, and it's a huge systemic problem with Bushiroad, to be honest, which causes set to be probably one of the worst sets, hands down, in Vieira. Super unfortunate. Yeah, like, Luar could have kind of made the set okay, but even that got hit by ban list, and people just weren't really excited about it anymore. The other sets being super cheap. This set, was also not very good, but not as bad as Phantom Dragon Aeon. I think it was a poor performer for us, but I think that by this point, Strictly started focusing on some other stuff. But we're still doing Vanguard because we're gonna do it. But our priorities shifted, and unfortunately, not that hot, but not too bad. The Nova stuff did well. Aquaforce stuff was okay, but I feel like it's like around the Silver Dust Blaze, very very similar. The Great, oh wait, I forgot about Great Nature. No, this set is way worse. And so the Great Nature was like, you pull, they had 2 VRs and they both sucked. People were selling the pre-orders for Great Nature at a super premium, when in reality, market dictates later that they're completely worth pennies. So this one's pretty bad. Actually, I'm gonna put this here. It actually might actually be worse than Phantom, actually, to be honest. We'll decide on that. We'll finalize that later. But I'm gonna put it at worse than Phantom. I forgot about Great Nature. That was so sad. Then Divine was actually pretty good. Gold was really strong. Angel was really strong. What else was in here? Even the OTT stuff, not the OTT stuff, the Genesis stuff is really good in premium. And so, though not incredibly expensive, was very very popular. And some of the triple Rs really held their value. Actually, almost all the triple Rs in this set hold their value, which is like an important indicator for a set's like performance. It's not in the VRs. It's like in the triple Rs, double Rs, and rares and commons. This set, quite good actually. All things considered, the triple Rs, double Rs, and not really common and commons, but the triple Rs really held their value. I was a big fan of this set. It did really well for us. It's like a low S tier. Definitely a pleasant surprise after, you see Silver, Aeon, Storm. This was okay, but then this was a pleasant surprise after all this. It was a good set. Without a doubt. No regrets there. Again, a little bit affected. I think the set could have performed even better had we not trailed behind Japan's unfortunate 1 month, 2 months in advance ban list. So that's the regardless. That's all the full boosters. EBs, Destructive Roar. Overall, it's a pretty poor performer, but a lot of the triple Rs are okay. And so the cost of EBs are actually lower than full boosters just in general, and so the ability for them to be profitable or have decent profit margins it's actually easier. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's actually a fact. So this set did actually okay on release. So on release it was really really good, and then in the holistic picture of the 3 years, a lot of the commons in this set ended up being commons and rares ended up being quite good. Like I said earlier, that's a huge indicator of a set's performance, because the cards you pull most are the double Rs, commons, and rares. And if those have like some kind of held value to them, the set ends up being just pretty good value set long term. Honestly, you can find boosters of this set for super cheap. But strictly, like, I did some buyouts on some boosters from some distributors, and this set has always been a good performer for me. Not a great performer, but I actually think it's like a low A performer. People really underestimate this set. Like Machining Mantis, Spike Bouncer. There were times when Spike Bouncer was expensive, and then the double Rs for like Tachikaze and stuff. Definitely an underrated set, I would say. This set, on release, was not great. The Maelstrom stuff was not too good. Hindsight 2020 though, this set became like absolutely crazy. The DP stuff was like way too expensive for double Rs, for VRs. The triple Rs were expensive. The Maelstrom stuff, after support came out for it, became absolutely just crazy. What was the third client in here? Grand Blue, right? The Grand Blue stuff on release was actually kind of expensive, but quickly became one of the cheapest stuff. Cheapest VR period. What's it called again? It's like the pirate looking dude. This set was really good though, all things considered. The DP stuff. This is actually low S. Might actually be here. Like, people who had this set, like this is back to PG era, right? This is back to early with the PGs. These Aquaforce PGs hit 20 at one point. DP PGs never did. The Grand Blue PGs never did, but it was actually pretty solid, honestly. Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'll leave it here for now. It might change. Honestly, like if you timed yourself right with the cards from the set, you're making like a ton of money. Like honestly, like the DP stuff, like at its highs. I remember we purchased some from distributors later on. Like opening these boxes, as long as you whiffed on the Grand Blue VR, it was like the VR paid for the box and more. That's how good this box was at its prime. So I think I'm pretty comfortable here. And like if you just, you know, thought about, I don't know, if you had some copies of these or like you bought them later on, this set was really, really good. What is this? Ultra rare? Ultra rare, definitely. Okay, ultra rare is like probably here. Ultra rare, man, like Ermin Soul. What's that card called? I think Dindrain is an ultra rare. And then it had those like rainbow cards. First appeared here, and then it started appearing in Bermuda and everything. The rainbow rare cards were pretty banger on release. The VRs were expensive. There was, you know, Neo Nectar was OP in premium, and the support, the staples for that deck from this set went up. This set was just a banger. Angel Feathers was a top tier deck. Neo Nectars was a top tier deck. Royal Paladin was not very good initially, but in premium it became, you know, just the absolute powerhouse that you guys all know. I'm pretty comfortable leaving. It was one of the best sets, absolutely, hands down. Well, I'm okay with that. Answer of Truth. Man, EBs are so hard to evaluate because they've always been good. If you had like some kind of long-term foresight on it, like the product is so much cheaper than full boosters, it was like always profitable. Again, like this product is, it was definitely not this comparable to this set, but definitely I think when Gears were at its prime, when they did the whole Next Stage and Astro Force, a lot of cards from this set became very, very expensive. Again, we did like a purchase from multiple distributors for multiples of these. It was pretty good, honestly. And I don't want to put too much weight into like the future of these sets, because obviously not everyone's going to be able to hold a bunch of every Vanguard set and figure out a bunch of hindsight 2020 stuff. But this set, I definitely think like it was actually really good. Maybe the low S as well. The PGs for Gears ended up being super, super expensive. Genesis ones also topped up quite a bit. And you know, Great Nature, Great Nature's support sucked in Storm, but the staples from here like Bino Tiger and stuff held like a good amount of value. The VR, the Leopold, was also just really expensive for the longest time. It was a good set, definitely low S, I think. This set, super banger. I'll tell you guys right now. So there's this like notion that Bermuda doesn't do well, and no, I'm comfortable putting it here. So I want to explain this. There's a notion that Bermuda doesn't do well, and that's because like, you know, I think a lot of people try to, you know, mitigate risk early, and that's like totally fine thing to do, by the way, keep in mind. And so they try to sell out. The TCG player, you know the TCG player game where everyone's undercutting each other until things sell. And yeah, when you sell Bermuda that way, there's always like a flood of Bermuda because a lot of people buy a lot of Bermuda because a lot of people want the SPs. But then long-term Bermuda always ends up like doing a crazy amount of bounce back. Like look at this set, for example. This set, all the VRs had their time to shine and being expensive, like very, very expensive. The LIRs, I think there are LIRs in this set too. The one per box ones, the Inezcas, the Lauras, those two specifically, they were criminally underpriced on release of this set. Like if you sold Inezcas and Lauras for the criminally underpriced prices, which, you know, we did as well. I'm not saying like we're a genius that foresight, hindsight 2020 is everything. I feel like those cards being, I think they were one per case, maybe two. that just doesn't make sense that they were selling for like 30, 40. Those should have been like 60, $70 cards all along and never changing. But definitely they went down a lot, like quite a bit. I think a Nesca sitting at hovering at 80 is a lot more logical than the 20, 30 it was hovering at. The melody stuff is just absolutely insane, and it's just like, as rear guards are so broken and they all had their time to shine being super expensive. The PG, you know, in its absolute prime was like a $30 PG that you pulled a lot of. There was that other double R, the one that pot of greeted basically. That card became $10. We sold like 100 of them for 10 each. Yeah, this set was a banger. It's like an absolute banger, I think. And then, you know, you have the SSPs and stuff, like, you know, you pull SSP Sonata, you're selling that for like $1,200. Same with SSP. Like we sold multiples of the highest level SSP for like a lot of money. So no, I think like for a lot of stores, like if you had like a bad experience with this set, maybe, but it's definitely one of those sets that if you play like a kind of longer game on, I feel like there was no reason for it not to be very, very, very good. And that's how it's appeared to for us. But I think for other people, it might have been a lot lower if they, you know, try to do that, you know, TCG player, that whole dance of like undercutting each other. Super banger for us though. I'm gonna leave it there. This set. So on release, it was like super whatever. But, you know, hindsight now, looking at it, like, and you know, when they were spoiling the MLB set and everything, the blaster stuff in this set became super, super crazy expensive. Just all the blaster stuff, you know, like the rapiers, I just remember rapier got bought a lot, like people, because they use that as the javelin as well. The javelin, was it the javelin? It was actually the javelin, not the rapier, but the javelin, you know, shot up to a $10 card. The messianics ended up being like 60, 70, right? But I think more reasonably speaking, the set was definitely not the greatest on release. Yeah, I don't think it was the greatest on release. But then when you think of like what else was in here, like I had to remind myself, yeah, the end was here, the other counterpart to my super neg cross bio, but the end actually ended up staying expensive for, you know, even to this day, because you need the end to play the X in standard. The Nova stuff was absolutely turds, but the rear guards were really good for it. The VR was really, really bad, but some of the rear guards were actually really, really good. This is definitely one of those other hold sets, like if you had like them lying around at your store that you couldn't sell as packs, and if you just opened them later, like a year later, it was just like paid hella dividends. It was like super stonks. Definitely like you're seeing a pattern here that EBs are just like again I said, like the cost of EBs are lower, the profit margins on them are way higher. I don't think, actually I'm gonna put answer here. This is actually better than answer, so it's gonna look something like this. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Yeah, I like this. The thing about this is, like, again, I can't like take everything at their highest point and say, okay, yeah, that's the best performer, because you can't sell everything at your highest point. But the highs of this were very high, but way later than reasonable for people to, you know, profit off of a release. But yeah, pretty banger to be honest as well. My Glorious Justice, this might be so I said EBs can't really be bad. This might be one of the few bad EBs. Wait, I just realized something. I got this completely. This is not the Heroic Evolution. This is, one sec. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I got like things mixed up. Okay, so this is like an era. I want to be very clear that this is an era where I just got super confused, honestly. These sets all were very samey. This had Messianic, but it didn't have the end. It had Sable Dragon Newts and the next, or whatever it's called, what is it called? The Great. So this one is actually, yeah, A makes sense. And then this one has the Messiah stuff. Man, I'm getting a little bit lost here, to be honest. It's probably here. I'm trying to speed this up a little bit. My Glorious, though. Okay, so now this makes sense. Now I can do My Glorious. This set sucked. It was not very good. It was like a B set, but it's EBB. It's an EBB set. So at the very minimum, it's like here. It had those markers too. I opened like 16 cases, pulled 0 of them too. But the Leon marker was like, it's like the most expensive marker hands down. It was hard to pull. But yeah, EBs generally are just more profitable than full boosters, but it was one of the worst ones, definitely. Might actually be worse than Ariel, but better than Miyagi. I'll put it here. Raging was also pretty not great. It was like a, you know, what's it called? Anger Blader was really good. Sweeper ended up being a very expensive triple R. The other stuff was okay, but it's kind of like Phantom, where one clan carried it, the other two kind of jank. But because it's EB, I think, and the VRs end up always staying at least 10. Again, it's like somewhere here, to be honest. Mysterious Fortune had the Asuka secret packs. So I'm trying to think. So it had Isabel as the VR. It also had, okay, so it had Neo Nectar, Asuka secret packs, and gold stuff. Great Nature. How good was this? I have a hard time remembering the performance of this. I know Isabels were hard to sell, but then the Isabels became pretty easy to sell when this came out, Storm. On release, the Neo Nectar stuff, like the Aphros, I think, Arbros, no, Sephiroth. It was okay priced. Everything was okay priced for this set. I think it's a solid. It's a solid one. Okay, maybe I put Raging Tactics way too high, because now that I think about it, if I'm putting these in the same placement, this has to be like here. But I think like this is like probably like here. It's like really nuanced at this point. I'm having a hard time like pinpointing it. It's probably like here or something. Nothing became like crazy expensive. It had the Asuka secret packs, 1 per case. But those were like not even that expensive now, like the cards in them. So yeah, I'm okay with this. Bam. Another Bermuda set that I think is a banger that people underrate like a lot. Okay, probably it's not this high. It's probably like here. But like, again, if you sold things on release playing the TCG player dance, yeah, it appears to be kind of poo. But the double R's and triple R's in this set are just, they, to this day at Strictly, I don't know why I decided. I think like the prices were really low for this set on release, and I just decided whatever, I'm just not gonna try to sell them. And just lo and behold, if you just played a little bit of a longer game on this set, you know, you had that Soul Charging grade 2 that went up a lot. Then you had then you had Carol. Obviously it shot up. Carol, everyone needs to play Carol, so it shot up. The grade 1 version of the Soul Charging grade 2, the Coral, yeah, the Coral grade 2 and grade 1 both had their time to shine at $8 to $10. The Riviera stuff went up. Even the Pacifica stuff had its time to shine at a higher price. And it's like, people just don't want to wait. But if you waited, this set was good. It was like a banger. It was probably actually worse than My Glorious. It was good. Like, it was hands down a really good set. Every card was like expensive at one point. That, like, a lot, not every card, a lot of the double R's and triple R's were expensive. And Riviera, you know, had its time to shine as a really good deck. It's probably here. I'm gonna put it here. Definitely, I think S tier. Oh my god, this set, the Dragon's Vanity, like if you're watching this video, it's really long, so I apologize. There's gonna be a lot of crops though, so hopefully it's not that long. Dragon's Vanity is just, in the entire V era, there was nothing even comparable to the profit margin of this stupid set. It was underprinted, and it was like going into the COVID stuff. Like, I don't remember the exact market situations for this set, but honestly, each box that you opened would double its money or triple its money even. It's like absolutely absurd. Like even at the retail price of buying a box, you double your money opening a box of this set. It was this is the best, probably a lot due to the circumstances surrounding it, but it was the best set we had in V-Era, hands down. You know, the grade 3 searchers just came out and they just shot up to crazy. Oh, basically every single triple R in this set shot up to over $10, and it's like, it was just so crazy. The VRs in this set, absolutely crazy pricing. Best set, hands down. Entire V-Era. Astral Force had the very expensive, this might be here. Honestly, this seems so dumb, but the gear cards ended up being so ridiculously, unreasonably expensive. And it was just silly. Like I felt really bad because by COVID, you know, have completely moved our attention to doing other stuff, and we didn't really do a lot of pre-sales and everything. But then I just had a bunch of the gear cards, and we just, you know, holy moly, dude. It was good. It was really great. These two sets might be the two best sets in all of V-Era, and hands down. The next stage was, and then on to the next stage. Sorry, I'm trying to speed this up a little bit to try to keep this under 40. The next stage was also really good. Yeah, it was the grade 3 searcher set following these two sets, and the grade 3 searchers were still expensive. Like by here, people started realizing like whatever, grade 3 searchers aren't even that great, and like more players I think came into the market and everything got pushed to more reasonable pricing. But grade 3 searchers were still expensive here. It was really good set. Gears were good, Neonexes were good. The Royal deck that was part of this set was also okay. I'm going to put this here. I'm comfortable with that. This one, right now it's like here. But if you look at the pattern, which I don't know if I'm going to make a video on this, maybe not. We are currently in the era, we're currently in the timeline of both these two Bermuda sets sucking too. This was very reasonable for these two sets to suck at this current stage of release as well. But currently, like without a doubt, this is actually here actually. But maybe in the future it will go up a little bit, who knows. Okay, two more sets. I'm just thinking, I'm looking at this. Psyqualia Strife. This is here, and I kind of was inspired to make this video because I thought back to Psyqualia Strife. This set was really good. So people didn't really want it because it was like a really weird anime set that didn't really provide a lot, so it was really underpurchased. But just the value in the kind of staples in the set, the full art triggers, the foil triggers, the fun anime scene markers that people just love to buy and snag up. And you know, I ended up buying out multiple distributors of their stock of this set specifically, not because I wanted to. Actually, they told me if I wanted to buy out other stuff that I had to buy this one out, and I was really upset about it. But in hindsight 2020, once we realized and opened up all of these, per box this set cannot lose money. It couldn't have lost money, yet it was still super cheap. It was the weirdest thing to me. This set was really good. Maybe it's one of those things where stores do better with this set than players, because you can sell those anime markers. Like it's hard for a player to sell the anime markers, but it's pretty easy for a store to do that. So it was good. It was really good. I made this video intending to put this in high A. Finally, this set, the Festival Collection, it's been really good to me. It's kind of similar to Psyqualia Strife, where a lot of the reprint stuff, people priced it super low on release. It got bought out really quick because, you know, I think the player base grew more than the product and the supply of the staples that existed, and it became just really good afterwards. It's definitely, oh god, I'm gonna put this down a tier then to A, just so I can fit this up here. This set performed really well. Like, keep in mind the amount of PGs that get pulled. I was not there for any of the openings, so I don't know the pull rates of anything, but I do know staff told me like we had a lot of the PGs that ended up all selling, especially the good ones that got reprinted, and they like sold for just as much as their old counterparts. And the price per product of this was like, I think it was definitely priced in a way, product wise, to assume that the PGs would get lower in price. but the PG stayed pretty expensive, and so the profit was just like pretty up there. Then you had the reprints like the main, full power in the main, that just ended up being $30. Greed Shade reprint that ended up being 15. Sable Dragonood reprint that ended up being 50. Yeah, it was a really good set. It's probably like, and yeah, that is my tier list. Anything that, man, this video was so long. I know I rambled, but I kind of just wanted to tell the story of everything as it was my opportunity to reminisce on all this stuff. I just want to quickly browse through if it's probably, Psych Quality is actually probably better than this. I mean, like percentage profit wise, like Psych Quality was quite good. This might be an overperformance. I was really high on this. I explained like it was actually really good, but I'm pretty sure Ariel beats these two. This one was pretty bad. This one was probably here. I like this. I think I'm going to stick with this. The thing with tier lists is you end up with so many titles, it gets a bit mixed, but I think the general idea and gist of it was good. Based on this tier list, we can take that the top 5 performers in V was Dragon's Vanity, Astral Force, Phantasmal Steed, Infinity Cradle, and the Festival Collection. And I do think that I would agree with that, at least from my perspective. So yeah, that's this video. Let me know if you guys disagree with any of the placements. Honestly, I'm just going from reminiscing and hindsight 2020 and thinking about it and reflecting on it. But if you disagree with any of the placements, let me know in the comment section. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And it's UA from the Strictly Broken TCG YouTube channel signing off. Peace.